Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I am Kim Sue and today I will be showing you how I made this cute top. Let's get started. You're gonna need yarn, the hook size recommended by your yarn label. You're gonna need a pair of scissors, you need some stitch markers, you're gonna need like 4, and a darning needle with your ends in at the end. To start off, you're going to chain the amount of chains that you need to like go around your neck, right? So basically you're chaining your neckline, the neckline, like how wide do you want the neckline to be. That's the amount that you're going to chain. Just make sure that it's an even number of chains. For mine, I am going to chain 80. I know that 80 is going to be wide enough for the neckline that I want, so I'm going to go ahead and chain 80. Start with a slip knot, and then you go ahead and chain 80. Okay, so now I have my 80 chains, right? So now is the time where you're going to do a little bit of math, right? So I'm going to use the amount that I have as an example. Now we're going to do some math, right? And remember I said you're going to change the amount like for how wide you want your neckline to be, right? But also you have to make sure that it is an even number. So I chained 80. So now I need to split this up into like 4 sections. So I'm going to do 80 times 0.20, so that's 20%. So we're basically splitting it between 20% and 30%, right? So 80 times 0.20 equals 16. So the two ends, so basically from counting from this end, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16. So this is the 16th one. So you're going to put a stitch marker into the 16th chain, right? So that's one here, and then we're going to do the same thing on this end. Put a stitch marker into the 16th chain. And remember that number will vary depending on how many chains you have. So if you chained 50, then you're going to do 50 times 0.20, and if you chain 60, and so on, so on and so forth. So this is, you just have to keep this so it doesn't unravel. So I'm just going to make this longer, this tail longer. So yeah, so this is the first stitch. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16. So this is a 16th stitch. So we're going to go ahead and place a stitch marker into that 16th stitch right there. All right, so now we need the other measurement because we have 2 more stitch markers that we need to place here, right? So first we did 20%. Now we need to do the 30%. So we're gonna have 80 times 0.30, and that's gonna give us 24. So we basically need 24 stitches in the center right here. All right, so we're gonna need to have 24 stitches in the center. Now if you realize, this is a lot, so in order to make it easier to find what is the middle 24 stitches, you could literally just use math for that again. So you just divide the 24 by 12. So you just start counting after the stitch marker, you count 12. Once you reach the 12 one, right, you're going to put the stitch marker after the 12th stitch, and you do the same thing on this end. You start counting after the stitch marker, right? Start counting after the stitch marker, and then you put the stitch marker in the 13th stitch, and that's gonna give you only, so once you count from one stitch marker to the next in the center, you should get 24 stitches. Let me show you what I mean. All right, so this was the 16th stitch, right? So we're not counting that because that is a part of that ending part. So we're gonna start counting from this stitch, the next one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is the 12th stitch right here. So, but we don't want the stitch marker to go into that one. We're putting it into the 13th one. And we just put that right here. Let me see. Okay, yeah, that's good. So we put it in the 13th one right here. And then we're going to go to this side and we're going to count again. Remember, do not count this starting at this stitch. Start on this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we're not putting it into this stitch, which is the 12th stitch. We're putting it into the 13th one. So we go right here and we put it into this stitch. No, to check to make sure that it is actually 24 stitches from this stitch marker to this one, you just count it. So you should be getting 24. So 1, starting at the stitch marker, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. You notice? So now we see that everything is good. 24. Okay, so the reason why we did this is because this is, a raglan. So we're working from the top down. So we need to have like the shoulders and the neckline clearly defined. It doesn't look like it right now because it's just this, but once I get to like maybe the second row, I'll fold it and show you how that works. So these stitch markers, these are the places where we will have our increases. These are the only places where we will be increasing. All right, so now to start row 1, you're gonna chain 2 extra chains before you start. So, and this doesn't count as a chain, it's kind of like your turning chain basically. So I'm chaining 2 extras, 1, 2, so I have 82 now. And then I like to work in the back bumps at the foundation. You don't have to. It's really a preference, a personal preference. If you want to just go into this section or the 2 of them, it's really up to you. I like to just work in the back bumps. I like how it looks, right? So these are my 2 extra chains. So I'm gonna chain into this third one right here. So I yarn over and I turn this and I go into the back bump. Pull up a loop, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And this is my first double crochet. Remember, this is the chain 2 right here. It doesn't count. It's just really the turning chains. Then yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And then that is my second double crochet. And I'm going to place 1 double crochet into each stitch until I get to the stitch marker. So I'll meet you there. Okay, so now we are at our first stitch marker. So this is where we're going to increase. Remember I said at every stitch marker is where we're going to have our increases. So what we're going to do is we're going to yarn over, or we're going to go into that stitch. You can, let me just do that, just remove the stitch marker while you do this. So you take that out, You're going to yarn over, go in that stitch, pull up a loop, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, right? So that's 1. Then you're going to chain 1, yarn, and then place another double crochet into that same stitch. So yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So right there. And then what you're going to do is your stitch marker, you're going to put it into that chain 1. So right there, you just place your stitch marker into that chain 1 that you did. And there you have it. You have like 2. You have 2 double crochet into that stitch, so that will be your increase. And you're going to do that at every single stitch marker for the remainder of the row. So you just move forward, yarn over, go, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2. You just continue that until you get to the next stitch marker, and I'll meet you there to show you that again. So now we're at the next stitch marker. I'm just going to remove it. It's going to be easier to work into the stitch that way. Then you yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then you're going to chain 1, right? You can place your stitch marker into that chain 1 space from now, right there. And then yarn over and place another double crochet into that same stitch, like that. And then you just continue until you get to the other one and so on. So that's what you're going to do. 1 double crochet into each stitch until you get to the stitch marker, and that's where you place 2. That you're going to do a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet into the same stitch. Alright, I'll meet you at the end of the row. As you can see, I have finished row 1, and everywhere I have a stitch marker, I did the increase there. So now I'm going to show you how we do the increase again, starting at round 2, and basically you're going to continue doing round 2 until you get to the point where your piece is like long enough to be connected, for you to connect the arm part of the shirt, right? So let's start here. So this is the end. We're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and remember the chain 2 does not count as a stitch, it's merely just a turn-in. You're going to yarn over, you turn, and you're going to place a double crochet into that first stitch right here. Right, so that's 1 double crochet, and that's 2 double crochets, and we're going to do 1 double crochet into each stitch until we get to the stitch marker, and I'll meet you right back at the stitch marker. Okay, so now this is the stitch right before the stitch marker, so we're going to place 1 double crochet into that stitch, right? And then instead of going into the stitch directly that we have the stitch marker in, we're going to go into the space. So we're using the chain 1 space, and so we're going to remove the stitch marker from the stitch and place it down, then yarn over, and we're going to place a double crochet into that space right here. So again, you notice I did not go into the stitch, I just went into the space. So I can show you that again. Yarn over, and you're going to put your hook in the space itself, not the stitch, the space. Yarn over, like that. Then you're going to chain 1 again, place your stitch marker into that chain 1, and then we're going to place another double crochet into the same space, like that. So we're not going into that stitch, we're just chaining around it. And then you place a double crochet into the next stitch right here, and then we're going to continue placing 1 double crochet into each stitch until you get to the other stitch marker, and I'll meet you there. So we're at the next stitch marker. As you can see, I put 1 double crochet into that stitch right before the stitch marker, and then you can just remove the stitch marker, right? And then you're going to go into the space, not the stitch, the space. Place 1 double crochet into the space, then you're going to chain 1, and you can put that stitch marker back into that stitch. Then yarn over, another double crochet into the same space right there, like that. And remember, we're never going into the stitch, we're just going around it. Then you place a double crochet into the next stitch out here, and then we're going to do 1 double crochet into each stitch until we get to the stitch marker, and that's where we'll do the increases, which is 1 double crochet, chain 1, another double crochet to the same space. And that's basically going to be the pattern repeat until you get to the point where you need to close, form the arm of the shirt. And remember, you chain 2 at the beginning of every single row, and it does not count as a stitch. So I'm 3 rows in, and I'm showing you how it actually starts to look, how you actually get, so then let's line this up like that. It's not gonna line up pretty good right now because it's not gonna line up pretty good right now because I'm only 3 rows in, but I don't know if you can kind of see how the shirt is being formed. So if you notice, so this is like, the front, because this bit right here, and then this section right here, this section is the back, right? And then these are the 2 sides, right here, and then this right here would be the armhole. So like this, you see that part, and then you come here and you see this part right here. So basically what we're going to continue doing is going around. I remove my stitch markers because I don't need them anymore, but if you do need to keep your stitch markers in to make sure that you recognize when you need to do your increases, feel free to keep them in. It's really good to have your guide instead of missing your stitches, right? So what we're just gonna continue going around and around doing that same thing until this gets long enough where this is wide enough for your arm, how you want your arm to, how big you want the armhole to be. But also keep in mind that when you're going to connect the arm pieces, you're going to have the option to just add chains, so you don't have to actually reach to the exact width of how you want your arm to be. It could be like a few inches less because you can just chain to connect, and that gives you more width for your arm. You'll see when we get there what I mean. I don't know if I'm making any sense right now, but yeah, we're just gonna continue going. For mine, I just measured one of my shirts. I measured from the neck to where the arm, right? You can measure from your neck to your underarm, and that will tell you how many inches this needs to be from here to this point. So from this point to this point, to know how long. For mine, I'm doing 12 inches. So, and because I already made another shirt, the blue one, as I showed in the intro, I did 20 rows before I started attaching the arm. So I'm going to do 20 rows before I am ready to join the armholes together. Okay, so now I've done 8 rows total so far, and this is how it's looking, as you can see. Okay, So as you can see, you can kind of see how it's shaping out now. You see the armhole is getting bigger. Go like this. You can see that this is where the armhole will be on this side, and then on this side. And yeah, it's getting really good so far. And as I said, for mine, I am going to be doing 20 rows here before I'm ready to like close off the armholes for mine. But as I said, you just measure, and you can measure on one of your shirts to determine when you should stop here and connect the armholes. Now I have my 10 rows finished, and it's about 12.5 inches. About 12.5 inches, yeah. About 12.5 inches. So as I said before, you just continue until you get to that point where it reaches like your armpit. So you know it's long enough to actually make your armhole, right? To make the arms right here. So what I'm going to do now is continue to put 1 double crochet into each stitch until I get to this section right here where we did the increases. And then once I get here, I'm going to put 1 double crochet. So let me get this closer. So once I get here, I'm going to put 1 double crochet into this space. Then I'm going to chain 10 and attach it to this other section right here, and that will give us like, you know, the armhole section. Okay, so now let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, so now I am at the section right here. So remember, I'm trying to attach here to here. Now I am going to chain 10 to attach this to this, but you don't have to. You can choose not to chain any at all, or chain less or more. I just decided that 10 will be enough for me to get that extra width in the arm area, because I don't want it to be too tight. But if once you get here you realize that this will be enough for you, you don't have to chain any extras. This is just a personal preference, but as I said, you can adjust it whether you want to chain or not, or whether you want to have more or less chains in order for it to fit your body. So I am going to do 1 double crochet into the space like so. Then I'm going to chain 10, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so now that I've chained 10, I am just going to go into this space right here and do a double crochet. So I'm just going to put 1 double crochet, so I'm chaining over and put 1 double crochet into this space right here. So now we can see that it's connected. All right, so once that is connected, then I'm just going to continue going that way, and just going to continue all the way around to place 1 double crochet into each stitch like that. And let's get this. So let me show you how it's looking once you've connected. Right, let's get this. Okay, so once you've connected the chain, you see how like that it's closed off. So then I'm just going to continue all the way across the back here, 1 double crochet into each stitch until I get to this part, the other arm, and then I'm going to do the same thing that I did on this side here. Okay, so now we're at the other space, and again we're going to do 1 double crochet into that space and then chain 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then to connect it to the other space, we're going to double crochet into that space like so. like that. And then we just continue until we get to the other end. All right, and we've gotten to the end. Let's just show you how this is looking. Okay, so this is how it's looking. We're right back at this beginning right here. This is how it looks when both armholes are connected. So all I'm going to do now is just continue going all the way around from here across here. The chains come back, these chains right here, and then we get back here. I'm just gonna keep doing that back and forth, and I'm going to do that for, like, this was the first row, so I'm gonna do like 9 more rows, and then that's the length I want mine to be. You can make it as long or as short as you want it to be. I have finished my 10 rows right here, and also I'm going to do 1 row of single crochet all around. So I'm going to start from here all the way up and go around the collar, the neckline right here, come all the way down and back down to here. Okay, so I have done 1 row of single crochet from the end here, and now I'm here at the top, so I'm just going to do another row. I'm going to continue the row all the way across the neckline and come all the way here and come all the way back down. Okay, so now I have done my row of single crochet around every, around everything, like here, the collar and all that. Look how nice it looks. It just looks so neat. I like that. So now the last thing I'm going to do is 1 more round of double crochet around the sleeve right here. I just want to like close up this little part just a little bit more. That's why I'm doing it. But as I said, it's really optional. If you want to do it, you don't have. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to. But I'm going to do it to mine. So I am going to attach my yarn right here. Okay, so as you can see, this space right here. So I'm going to do a slip knot. I'm going to make a slip knot. Remove my hook, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my hook into this space right here, and then pull the slip knot through, and I'm going to chain 2, right? So I'm chaining 2 right here, and then I'm going to go into this first stitch right here with a double crochet, then going to the other one with a double crochet, and I'm just going to put a double crochet into each stitch all the way, come all the way back, and then join. Okay, so this is what I do when I get to the next chain space right here. I put 1 double crochet into that space, just like I did at the beginning. Well, I guess at the beginning I did a chain 2, but either way, I'm putting a double crochet into that space. Right, and then I'm going to put another double crochet into this space right here. Right. this space right here, also I put a double crochet in there. It's kind of loose, but yeah, I put a double crochet into here. Or if you want, you can also put it here. I'll just put mine here, right? And then I'm going to put one double crochet into each of these bumps right here. So this bump 1, 2, I'm going to put a double crochet into each of them. It's kind of tight, but you can always just like that. All right. 1. And I'm just gonna continue until I get to the starting part right here. And then I'm going to put one in here. And then right now, as you can see, we're back at the start. And I'm just going to slip stitch into the top right here, right here. And then I'm gonna cut my yarn. Okay, so now I have finished the extra row at the sleeves here, and I've chained 60 chains, and these are going to be the ties. No, you can choose where you want to put your ties. I'm going to come to row 14. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So this row 14, I'm going to put my card through here. Okay, so I put mine through row 14 from the top, and then row 10 from the bottom. And then all I'm going to do is just tie a bow, and that will be it. Okay, so this is the finished product. I mean, my bra is peeking through a little bit right here, but I mean, I could just add more ties if I want to, but I don't mind the little peeking. But yeah, this is how it looks, and I love how this part, it just comes like it just forms this little like collar situation going on, even though there isn't any right here. But yeah, I really like it. It's really cute, and I use cotton yarn, so it's not hot. But I really do believe that it's something that you can wear in the fall too, because you can can just layer it, like wear something long under it if you want a little more warmth. But all in all, it's really cute, and I really love it. Yeah.